It's frightening what's going on here. But here, we put this up yesterday. We put this up yesterday on X, and a lot of people said, "Where did you find that?" It's one of the latest logos from NATO. That's the NATO inclusion logo. Everybody's involved now. NATO is not just a military organization. It's part of the globalist agenda. This is why, for some time now, I have opposed Canada's continued membership in NATO, as well as the US. This is an organization whose time was spent decades ago with the end of the Cold War. It served a great purpose during the Cold War. Don't get me wrong, I worked for NATO. I wrote the talking points. In fact, I wrote the talking points for NATO long after the organization had served its useful purpose. But I was in uniform and I did what I was told. And believe me, at the time, I thought NATO had found a new pathway, a new objective that was good. It's turned out to be a disaster. It's meant endless wars across the world, and NATO has brought us to the brink of a nuclear war with Russia. I say that every day because we need to wake up to the importance and the salience and the obviousness of that. We are headed towards nuclear war. So, what does this mean? Well, Justin Trudeau explained what it meant quite some time ago at the last NATO conference in Washington. Let's listen again to what Justin Trudeau said about the future of NATO.
NATO have long recognized an indisputable fact. Climate change is not only an existential environmental threat, but one of the defining security issues of our time. Le Canada et l'OTAN savent depuis longtemps que les changements climatiques sont non seulement une menace environnementale, mais aussi un des plus grands défis de sécurité de notre époque. Rising sea levels and increasingly frequent and intense natural disasters threaten security infrastructure like ports and military bases that keep our alliance safe. A warming Arctic is opening up a new arena of competition that our adversaries are eager to exploit, and climate-induced floods, famines, and droughts exacerbate inequality, fuel conflict, and drive displacement across the globe, all of which disproportionately harm marginalized and vulnerable populations. Overall, climate change risks creating a less stable, less prosperous, and less secure world. That is why we acted. Back home, our government has shown global leadership in addressing the climate crisis. We've placed a price on pollution that simultaneously reduces our emissions and puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians. We launched Canada's first.
So, are you getting this? NATO has become not just a military alliance without any purpose except to foment war with Russia and to create a nuclear confrontation. NATO has become another appendage of the globalist agenda. Now it's concerned about climate change. When in the hell did NATO ever become a climate change organization? When was NATO ever endowed with that power? Why are they moving in this direction? Obviously, the globalists want to use every appendage they can, every organization that's somehow linked into the globalist agenda to advance their agenda.
National adaptation strategy to build stronger and more resilient communities. We became the first major oil-producing nation to introduce a cap on emissions from the oil and gas sector, and we're creating hundreds of thousands of good-paying, sustainable jobs from coast to coast to coast with our $160 billion investment in our net zero economic plan and green.
And of course, you know, this is all balderdash. This is all BS. There are no good jobs in Trudeau's green energy plan. The only jobs available are going to be janitorial positions. When we lose all of these high-paying jobs in the oil patch, guess what people are going to be doing? What? Producing solar energy panels? Sorry, China's got that sewn up. So there's nothing. This is all nonsense. This is Trudeau's way of selling out the energy industry in Canada and somehow suggesting this is a broad new order. This is a broad sunlit way ahead. And it's all nonsense.
Industrial strategy, showing every step of the way that good climate policy is good economic policy.
No, it's bad economic
What gathers us
policy.
here today is that it is also good security policy. Addressing a global problem like climate change requires a global response. A global response which we've been coordinating in close partnership with our 31 fellow member states in NATO. Our government has been a strong advocate for ensuring that climate change is an integral part of NATO's agenda and that together we act to make it a reality. Notre gouvernement a toujours insisté pour que la lutte contre les changements climatiques fasse partie du programme de l'OTAN, alors on a travaillé ensemble. In 2021, the Alliance published the NATO Climate Change and Security Action Plan, a plan which recognized the risks that climate change poses to NATO and pledged to take action to address those challenges. In 2022 and 23, Canada co-led a climate change working group with Denmark and Norway to identify and establish NATO's climate research priorities. And we spearheaded the NATO Climate Change and Security Center of Excellence, which we were proud to launch last year, that will be housed in downtown Montreal.
Okay. Absolute blather about climate change, the usual nonsense about how his green energy policy is producing hundreds of thousands of jobs that have never materialized, will never materialize. But what's ominous about this is that NATO is now about climate change. It has nothing to do with security. We know this is not an existential threat. We know this has all been manufactured. This is completely factitious. There is no existential threat. We're not going to be underwater on the coast, or else people like Barack Obama wouldn't be buying homes on the east coast of the United States that were supposedly supposed to be covered by the oceans, according to Al Gore's ridiculous documentary, An Inconvenient Truth. You recall that? Didn't happen. Not going to happen. They're all in this lie together, and they all know it's a lie. So, we've heard a lot this week. I talked about it yesterday. If you read my Substack, by the way, that I put out yesterday about this trumped up Russian disinformation campaign going on in the United States right now, being led by Attorney General Merrick Garland and FBI Director Christopher Wray, you will know that this is the same old, same old. Here we go again. We have an election less than 2 months away, a presidential election in the United States. And once again, the Justice Department in the US and the FBI is crying disinformation from Russia. And somehow there's this collusion going on between conservative media and Russia. And no one in the media side has been charged yet, but just you wait. They are looking for some justification for that. Mark my words on that. Why is the United States so committed to this war in Ukraine? I mean, you must ask yourself that, because they've taken the world to the brink of nuclear war on this. Increasingly, they're putting American troops and NATO troops closer to the action. In fact, American troops might well have been involved in the Ukrainian invasion of the Kursk region. NATO troops have been making incursions into Russia. They've been working with Ukrainian troops. The United States is planning and expediting missile strikes for Ukraine. It's almost like they want a war. I wonder sometimes if they've lost their minds, because this kind of war used to be recognized by everybody on both the left and the right as unthinkable, as impossible, as something. A nuclear war was something that was unwinnable and something we never wanted to start. But listen to Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican, South Carolina, Rhino, Republican in name only for years. This guy has one objective in life, and that's to create as many wars as possible because he's in the pocket of the military industrial complex in the States. But listen to what he says in this ad hoc interview. Well, he's holding close his dear friend and ally, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Need the weapons to free their country of a terrible invasion. They're sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals that could be good to our economy. So I want to keep helping our friends.
No, sorry, I have to start this again. You missed it.
I'm here with President Zelensky. I am such a admirer of what you and your country have done. You're trying to stop the Russians so we don't have to fight them. They don't want any American troops. They just need the weapons to free their country of a terrible invasion. They're sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals that could be good to our economy. So I want to keep helping our friends in Ukraine. We can win this. They need our help.
Yes, we need, and we have already. The biggest help is the support of American people and support of our friends, thanks to Lindsay and his colleagues, to congressmen and senators from the United States. Thanks for this support, bipartisan support. Thank you so much.
Peace is coming.
Yes, soon.
Peace is coming. Did you get the most important part of that?
I want to keep helping our friends in Ukraine. We can win this. They need our help.
Yes, we need, and we.
Let's try again.
Of a terrible invasion. They're sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals that could be good to our economy.
They're sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals that could be good for our economy. Whoops! I think I let the cat out of the bag. I think I revealed what the agenda really is here. The U.S. wants that $1 trillion of minerals underneath Ukraine. And who specifically wants it? BlackRock. BlackRock has already been designated to provide the reconstruction program for Ukraine when they have peace. Now, of course, this is all a pipe dream because it's not going to work out the way Lindsey Graham wants it to work out. It's not going to work out the way Zelensky thinks it's going to work out because the war is almost over. And we know that. We need peace in Ukraine. But if they think BlackRock is going to come in and scoop up $1 trillion worth of minerals and rebuild Ukraine and make a pile of money off of it, because the military industrial complex has already made billions of dollars off of this war and other corporate villains. And believe me, I am a capitalist. I am severely anti-communist, but I am sick of these government-supported corporations making billions of dollars off the blood of foreign wars. And that's exactly what they're doing. So that's what is going on here. Lindsey Graham opened his big trap. He hasn't got his makeup on in this shot. He's usually well made up for those interviews. This is an old man who is a warmonger from day one. How he keeps getting elected in South Carolina, the most conservative state in the union, it's a mystery to me, except I know what he does every 6 years, just before it's election time. Lindsey Graham finds a conservative peg and decides, I better say something to appeal to my base. He did it the last time over the confirmation of a Supreme Court justice. He decided he would stand on that hill because he needed a groundswell of conservative support to win his Senate seat again. That's what he does every time. And when he's not running for re-election, and he's not this November, he can say whatever the hell he wants. And you get the truth out of Lindsey Graham only when he's not running for re-election. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, folks. Don't listen to Justin Trudeau. We need this kind of attitude in Canada right now because, let me tell you, Justin Trudeau will fight tooth and nail to stay as leader of the Liberal Party and as Prime Minister of Canada, and he will use every trick in the Liberal handbook to do that. So we have to be vigilant, and we have to have perseverance to fight this battle to the end. As I've been saying since this station went on the air, we need to resolve to resist. And we need to fight for our free speech and our democratic rights. to say what we believe, to speak, as John Diefenbaker said. And don't forget that t-shirt that's available out there in the store. I speak as a free Canadian, free to speak, free to believe in what I choose. And Justin Trudeau is not going to interfere with that. Thanks for being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right Resistance, and we'll see you again soon. So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need to resolve to resist